Most countries buy their weapons. Iran builds them. Under decades of sanctions cut off from the rest of the world, Iran did something nobody expected. They looked at every weapon they could get their hands on, took it apart, studied it, and made their own version. From old Soviet rifles to anti-tank missiles that can stop a modern battle tank cold, Iran built one of the most unique arsenals on the planet. This is every weapon Iran ever made. Let's start where every army starts. The rifle. Dok 7.62, the backbone. This is the gun that every Iranian soldier knows. It is a copy of the Russian AKM and the Chinese Type 56, built in massive numbers inside Iran. Simple, cheap, and it works in sand, dust, and heat without complaining. It is the standard weapon for the regular army and the Revolutionary Guard. If Iran goes to war, this rifle goes first. HKG-3, the Shah's rifle. Before the 1979 revolution, Iran made a deal with Germany to produce the G3 battle rifle at home. When the revolution happened, the factories kept running. This hard-hitting 7.62 rifle is still standard issue for the regular Iranian army. Soldiers love it for one reason. It hits hard and it hits far. In open desert terrain, that matters a lot. M16A1, the enemy's gun. Here is where it gets interesting. In the 1970s, when Iran and America were still allies, Iran bought thousands of American M16 rifles. Then the revolution happened, America became the enemy, and those rifles never left. Today, Iranian Navy commandos still carry the M16A1 into battle. The same gun made by the country they call the Great Satan. Norinco CQ, the Chinese copy. When the original American M16 stocks started running low, Iran needed more. They turned to China, which had already copied the M16 into the CQ rifle. Iran bought them and later started making their own version. You can spot it easily by the unusual pistol grip and curved handguard. It went straight to elite Revolutionary Guard units for special operations. PKM, the workhorse. Every Iranian infantry squad has one of these. The PKM is a Soviet belt-fed machine gun that Iran now produces at home. It is heavy, loud, and it keeps firing no matter how dirty it gets. In desert sand and mountain dust, that kind of reliability is worth more than anything fancy. And G3, the buzzsaw. This German machine gun fires 1,200 rounds per minute. That is not a typo. Iranian factories kept producing it after the revolution and it never stopped being useful. When this opens up on an enemy position, the sound alone makes soldiers drop. It is that fast and that loud. Desiche the heavy. A Soviet 12.7mm heavy machine gun found on almost every Iranian truck, tank, and boat. It punches through brick walls and light armor without slowing down. Simple and brutal. Iranian support units have used it for decades and they are not replacing it anytime soon. SVD Dragunov, the Reach. Iran produces its own version of the Soviet SVD sniper rifle. Every infantry platoon gets one. It lets a single marksman engage targets far beyond what a standard rifle can reach. It is not the fanciest sniper rifle in the world, but it gets the job done at distance. M50, the Hunter. Iran reverse-engineered this from an Austrian rifle and turned it into their standard heavy sniper system. It fires the same round as the American .50 caliber. Iranian proxies across the Middle East carry this rifle. It is accurate, powerful, and simple enough that even irregular fighters can use it effectively. Shar, the monster. This one is different. It fires a 14.5mm round, bigger than anything most armies put in a rifle. It weighs over 22 kilograms and needs 3 soldiers just to carry and set up. It can disable a vehicle from 3 kilometers away. Iran built this because sometimes stopping power matters more than portability. M1911, the classic. Iran has been copying the American 1911 pistol for decades without permission. The .45 caliber stopping power is the reason older Iranian officers still carry it. One shot from this puts a man down. It is old technology, but Iranian factories never stopped producing it. PC-9, the SIG copy. Iran looked at the Swiss SIG Sauer P226 and built their own version called the PC-9. It is the standard sidearm for Iranian police, pilots, and military officers. Reliable, high capacity, and built entirely inside Iran without a single imported part. RPG-7, the universal hammer. Almost every Iranian infantry squad carries one. Iran produces its own version of the RPG-7 rocket launcher and has been doing it for years. It works against fortifications, light vehicles, and enemy positions. Simple enough for any soldier to learn fast. Cheap enough to produce in huge numbers. To fan the wire guide. Before the revolution, America gave Iran BGM-71 TOW anti-tank missiles. After the revolution, Iran took those missiles apart and figured out how to make their own. The Tufan is that copy. It is a heavy wire-guided missile fired from a tripod or a jeep. It can destroy tanks from a distance, and Iran has kept it alive through pure reverse engineering. Delavia, the laser killer. This is Iran's version of the Russian Kornet missile. It uses a laser beam to guide itself directly into a target. It is one of the deadliest anti-tank weapons Iran has ever produced. Iranian proxy groups across the region use it regularly. Modern tanks fear this missile because it hits hard enough to burn straight through their armor. M203, the pocket artillery. Iran copies the American M203 grenade launcher and mounts it under their rifles. One pull of the trigger sends a 40mm explosive round flying into enemy cover. It turns a regular soldier into a one-man fire support team. Every squad leader wants one. HM-16, the heavy mortar. A 120mm mortar built entirely inside Iran. Battalion commanders use it to drop heavy rounds on enemy positions from far behind the front line. The enemy never sees it coming, and by the time they hear it, it has already landed. It is the signature indirect fire weapon of Iranian ground forces. FAR-1, the mini rocket. A 107mm rocket launcher with 12 tubes that blankets an entire area with explosives in seconds. Iran exports this weapon to proxy groups across the Middle East more than almost anything else. Light enough for mountain infantry, destructive enough to flatten a defensive position fast. Missile-2, the shoulder shield. This is Iran's standard shoulder-fired air defense missile. A single soldier carries it, points it at a low-flying helicopter, and fires. The missile locks onto engine heat and follows it. It gave Iranian ground troops their own protection against air attack without needing a vehicle or a crew. Missile-3, the smart one. The upgraded version. It has a 360-degree laser warning detector built in. Modern aircraft drop flares to confuse heat-seeking missiles. The Missile-3 ignores those flares and keeps tracking the real target. That one upgrade made it significantly more dangerous than anything Iran had produced before. Remington 870, still here. Even Iran's police force runs on the same pump-action shotgun used by American law enforcement. Bought before sanctions, never replaced. It handles crowd control and close-range security work without any problems. YM2, the invisible killer. Completely plastic body. No metal parts. Standard mine detectors cannot find it. Iran copied this from an Italian design and uses it to protect sensitive military and nuclear sites. It blows the tracks off heavy armor and stops vehicles cold. Simple and nearly impossible to detect. Valmara 69, the jumper. When triggered, it launches into the air before exploding. That one detail makes it far deadlier than a standard ground mine. Shrapnel sprays in every direction at chest height. Iran copied this from an Italian design and still uses it on perimeter defense around critical installations. F-1 grenade, the lemon. Iran's standard defensive grenade modeled after the Soviet F-1. Heavy cast iron body that breaks into large deadly fragments on detonation. Every Iranian soldier carries these. Reliable, cheap, and effective in trench fighting and defensive positions. M2 flamethrower, the Dragon. American flamethrowers from the Shah's era. Iran used them heavily during the war with Iraq to clear bunkers and fortified positions. Most have been replaced by thermobaric rockets, but stockpiles still exist in reserve. Nothing clears a bunker faster and nothing creates fear like fire. RPOA Shmel, the Bumblebee. A thermobaric rocket that does not just explode. It releases a cloud of fuel first and then ignites it. The pressure and heat wipe out everything inside a cave or bunker. Iran acquired the technology from Russia. Proxy groups in the region have used it in multiple conflicts. Iran built all of this under total isolation. No imports, no help, no Western technology. Just engineers taking weapons apart and figuring out how to make them work. That is what decades of sanctions actually produced. Not a weaker Iran. A self-sufficient one.